Welcome to part 4 of our live training video here with our LS Swap Nova. Now, in the last video, we concentrated on doing our part throttle cruise tuning. This video, we're going to move into our wide open throttle tuning, learning how to calibrate both fuel and spark timing on our chassis dyno so you can see that process from start to finish. There's definitely tips and tricks in here that will help you in doing and replicating the same process on your vehicle. Let's jump into our video here so we can get started learning how to do wide open throttle tuning with our Holley Terminator X.
Welcome back to our live training session here with our LS Swap Nova. Now in the last video, we completed the part throttle calibration process. So we nailed down the fuel and spark timing and even took a look at the injection timing or injection angle table. With all that sorted out, now we're ready to focus our attention into doing full throttle tuning. This process is extremely simple. We're going to be doing a couple pulls here, nailing down our fuel first, then our spark timing. We're going to be taking a look at trying to integrate our knock control into tuning our spark timing. But we need to go and distinguish the two aspects for doing full throttle tuning. That's fuel tuning, then spark timing tuning. Let's take a look at where we're at and talk about what we're going to be potentially changing and what we're going to be doing in this video. So first things first, we're going to go in here to fuel, our main fuel table. The main VE table represents the estimated airflow as it's coming into the engine. We've optimized this in part throttle conditions here already. What we're going to be focusing on here is going from roughly 84 to 105 kPa. This range of operation is where we need to go and reestablish and realign this estimation of airflow, because we haven't touched this yet. Everything from roughly 80 kPa below, we've already nailed that down in the part throttle driving, so we've updated all of that. Now, we've specified the target air fuel we want to run at. So we've specified 12.4 air fuel that's going to be safe for a naturally aspirated LS engine. We'll do our pulls. After we've dialed in our estimation of airflow here into our VE table, we've got that nailed down, we're going to go in here into our target air fuel, and we can change then our air fuel to anything we'd like. So we could change it from 12.4 to 12.8 to 13.2. We don't have to go back into the VE table and adjust anything. So if we want to change our wide open throttle air fuel, we do it in the target air fuel table. Now if you're tuning in speed density, so the fuel flow rate based table, that's not part of the fuel calculations, and if you wanted to change your air fuel, you'd have to actually have to go into the base fuel table, which is the fuel flow rate table, and actually readjust that. So that wouldn't be part of the calculations. It doesn't make it as simple as what we're dealing with here within the actual VE style modeling and tuning. So what we're going to be doing here is doing our pulls, actually doing them using the closed loop as a guide into what kind of changes we need to make into the main VE table. So we can use the short-term adjustment, allowing it to add or subtract 50% fuel. We can play it back in the data log and overlay it on top of the VE values here and figure out what update changes actually need to make based on the percentage change it's showing us, and then literally updating cell by cell what that correction needs to be, and we can find within 1 or 2 pulls we'll have our fuel nailed down. Now, what we need to do here, as we're on the topic of fuel, let's go here and get offline. Let's go here into system parameters. We're going to go here into closed loop learn, and right now we have our closed loop correction here on. Right now we have it set for plus or minus 50% of limits. We're going to keep closed loop correction on. We always want that running. We'll shrink down the limits once we've tuned the full throttle. But what I want to do here is talk about the learn parameters. Now in the learn parameters here, I set this table up before I started to film a little bit differently than what we talked about in the last video. When we're working with the learn parameters here, we're filtering out 950 RPM and higher, we want the learn to work. 1% throttle and higher, we want the learn to work, or allowing the long-term fuel trim to populate. Now, looking at the table here, I've went in from roughly 80 kPa and higher, and I've zeroed out any of the learn behavior from the long-term learn. I only want to look at short-term correction when I'm tuning my wide open throttle fuel, and then after I've dialed it in, after I'm comfortable with that, I can go and set this back to maybe 5%, plus or minus 5% of total learn at full throttle. We don't want the learn to really do a whole lot at full throttle conditions. Now below this, below 80 kPa, I'm allowing the learn plus or minus 10%. We know that the main fuel table in part throttle is nailed down, so we can lower our learn limits. Something like plus or minus 10, 15% will be sufficient. That's only after you've tuned the main fuel table, which we have at this point. So I've lowered my limits to 0 at full throttle, so the long-term learn doesn't populate, only works with and only going to be working and using.
Thanks for checking out our teaser clip. If you want to see the rest of this video and more than 500 hours of current EFI training we have to offer, make sure you click right here. If you want to go and check out more teaser clips from this training course, click here, and you don't want to miss any of the videos we're going to be releasing on this channel, so make sure you subscribe and click here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.